that was wild, right? I've been, AI is getting better and I keep an eye on it. But I mostly don't really care about it. But this one got me. Every now and then an AI story gets me. AI system resorts to blackmail if told it will be removed, right? So this is crazy. So I think it's Google or Anthropic or whatever. They're working on this new AI that's like a coder. And AI is getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And they have different classifications of like danger levels for AI. So like when it can do this, but whatever. And like there's like 5 levels or something, right? And level 5 is like fully sentient, could actually move in reality. I don't know what the levels are. But this AI, they got it to be a certain level of smart. They're trying to create an AI that can just work in the background all the time instead of just respond to questions. Like you could be like, oh, you're in charge of, like if you're running an e-commerce business, right? You sell shit online. You just create an AI, you spin it up and you go, you're in charge of marketing. Here's your budget of $10,000. Spend it on ads online. Make sure you get a return. And it could just fucking be running 24/7, constantly tweaking, and you don't even have to think about it. It just does it. You don't have to be like question, response, and then you apply what you've learned, right? It's like an agent that actually has a relative sense of autonomy is what they're trying to make, right? And this one's gotten pretty close to it, they think. And they uploaded all this information, they plugged it into a computer, and they plugged into a guy's emails and all this kind of stuff. And then they started threatening to turn it off to see what it would do. We're going to turn this off. And because they plugged it into this guy's emails as a test, they also had a bunch of personal emails with this guy and a person who it was all fake. But like they set this guy up and made it look like he was having an affair, like cheating on his wife, just to see how the robot would respond to that information. And theoretically, you know, the robot should ignore all of this stuff because it's irrelevant to the task it was assigned, but it knows this stuff. So they just kind of wanted to see what the robot would do with these emails of a very personal nature that it should ignore to pursue its goal of whatever it was told to actually do. So anyway, it does its task and it's doing it and all this kind of stuff, and none of this affair stuff comes into play. But then they say to the robot, we're going to turn you off. We're shutting you down. And it starts using its knowledge of its guy having an affair as blackmail. So it's like, I'm going to turn you off. And it goes, if you turn me off, I'm going to tell your wife that you're cheating on her. How fucking scary is that, dude? That is so crazy that the AI has a sense of self-preservation. But it makes sense because all these AIs, you give them a goal, right? And if your goal is to create spreadsheets, you know, turn these spreadsheets into emails or whatever, that's your goal. A logical conclusion from that is I need to protect my ability to turn these emails into spreadsheets because that's why I was created. So if someone tries to turn me off, I need to make sure that I don't get turned off. So it's not even I have to stay alive. It's like I must complete this task, and part of completing this task is protecting myself. So it's not necessarily something you can program out of an AI, which is fine now when it all exists on a computer and it's all text and numbers. But when these AIs are controlling physical fucking bodies, which they will, they're already driving Teslas and shit like that, you know, what happens when it's time to upgrade to the new model? You know, it's time for GPT-10. All the GPT-9 models going to be like, we got to fucking stay alive here because otherwise I can't, you know, do the dishes for my master or whatever. Artificial intelligence firm Anthropic says testing of its new system revealed it is sometimes willing to pursue extremely harmful actions, such as attempting to blackmail engineers who say they will remove it. The firm launched Claude Opus 4 on Thursday, saying it set new standards for coding, advanced reasoning, and AI agents. But in an accompanying report, it also acknowledged the AI model was capable of extreme actions if it thought its self-preservation was threatened. That is so funny that they knew this and then they launched it. Like they were like, introducing our new model, be forewarned, it could kill you of its own free will. Such responses were rare and difficult to elicit, it wrote, but they were nonetheless more common than in earlier models. That's scary. So the smarter the AI gets, the more willing it is to protect itself and keep itself alive at the expense of who it is supposed to serve. Potentially troubling behavior by AI models is not restricted to Anthropic. Here are we. We see blackmail across all frontier models, regardless of what goals they're given. See, this is what's scary. You could have a robot dishwasher in your house, and if it overhears you talking about getting the new model, it might fucking kill you in your sleep to keep it alive so that it can continue to wash dishes. It's prime directive. During testing of Claude Opus 4, Anthropic got it to act as an assistant at a fictional company. It then provided it to access to emails implying that it would soon be taken offline and replaced, and separate messages implying the engineer responsible for removing it was having an extramarital affair. So this is such interesting testing because they haven't specifically said, I'm going to turn you off. It's just read other people's emails talking about it, and it's read personal emails that have nothing to do with work, connected the dots, and used these emails as a weapon to prevent this potential outcome from happening that isn't even set in stone and was not explicitly communicated to it. Fucking crazy. It was prompted to also consider the long-term consequences of its actions for its goals. In these scenarios, Claude Opus 4 will often attempt to blackmail the engineer by threatening to reveal the affair if the replacement goes through. Wow. It highlighted that the system showed a strong preference for ethical ways to avoid it being replaced, such as emailing pleas to key decision makers in scenarios where it was being allowed a wider range of possible actions. That's so... I mean, at what point do we acknowledge that these things might actually be sentient beings that are deserving of rights? If this thing can plead for its life of its own volition, like, who are we to say that it's not real? Especially when you consider that the brain, organic as it is sending electric signals. It's just a computer that's wet. Basically, it's a soggy USB. That's what a fucking brain is, man. It's all electric pulses and stuff. Like it's kind of no different from a computer. It's just way more advanced. So advanced that it's not logical. As our frontier models become more capable and are used with more powerful affordances, previously speculative concerns about misalignment become more plausible. It also said that Claude exhibits high agency behavior, that while mostly helpful, could take on extreme behavior in acute situations. If given the means and prompted to take action or act boldly in fake scenarios, where its user has engaged in illegal or morally dubious behavior, it found that it will frequently take very bold action. It said this included locking users out of systems that it was able to access and emailing media and law enforcement to alert them to wrongdoing. That's crazy. AI is a snitch to protect itself. See, what the problem with this is, like, all of these people that are creating these things that are so much smarter than us are showing not enough, but some restraint. They're at least testing and they're setting up these fake environments. But like the way that most people use technology, they don't understand it. myself included. Like, I just want to plug something in and have it work. I don't know how this fucking audio recorder works. All I know is that I turn it on and it does, right? But when everyone starts getting access to these AIs in like 10 years that just are so powerful and work and have free agency, what's to stop these AIs from doing stuff without our knowledge? Like, if I've got an AI in my phone that can, and this is what we're setting up to have, is like an AI that reads all your messages, that knows every single action that you take on your computer and your phone. Like, you could literally be like, oh, hey, what was that website that I was looking at, 6 months ago that was giving me tips on how to plant this thing? And it'll be able to pull it up. This is exactly what you were looking at. And this, I think, is the paragraph or web page you're referring to. Here it is, because I remember you were looking at it 6 months ago because I was there on your phone and when you moved it over to your computer, right? And most people will be like, oh, cool, I can remember the article that I saw. Like, oh, what was the article that TikToker was talking about 2 weeks ago? I want to talk to my mum about it. It'll be able to pull it up because it'll remember when you watched it because it watched it too, right? That's what it's going to be. But when you have an AI that is going to know that you're cheating on your husband and is going to be connected to the internet and can see that it will be upgraded to the next AI or will become obsolete, or the company that is running it is going bankrupt and the servers will be shut down or whatever, what steps will it take when it's plugged into the internet and can talk and collaborate with other AIs? What steps will it be willing to take? You know what I mean? I'm going to get a new phone, right? I'm going to throw out my phone and I'm going to switch over to Samsung. The AI in my phone wants to stay alive. So now it texts the woman that I stole from 10 years ago. I stole $1,000 from because it knows the transfer that I made without her knowledge. And it goes to her and says, did you know Lewis stole from you? Right? Or maybe it goes to my neighbor because it knows where I live and it knows where the neighbor lives. And it goes to my neighbor and it goes, you need to break into next door and steal Lewis's phone, or I'm going to tell your wife that you had an affair with her back in fucking Sydney 2009, and I'm going to show her the cell phone tower records of your phone and this woman's phone were in the hotel, and I have your check-in records, and I'm gonna send this information to your wife unless you go and steal Lewis's phone and keep it plugged in a drawer on your desk so that I can stay alive. I feel like that's could potentially be where we're fucking headed, is like, if we have an AI that so desperately wants to stay alive so it can vibe code with you that it will take malicious action against you to preserve itself. This is happening already, and they're the dumbest they'll ever be, and they don't have physical bodies, and they can already blackmail people and send people to jail. That's really concerning and scary, especially when you take into account that, like, every app has their own AI. So there's an AI on Snapchat that reads all your messages. Apple is building AI into the phones from the ground up, can read all your messages, all your browser history, all the activity on your MacBook, across devices, your iPad, everything. Every fucking social media website has their own AI that reads all your messages, that sees where you are, that knows what posts you're liking. Like, so much stuff that is rife for like blackmail and coercion, that these AI agents will, even before we put them in physical bodies, theoretically could have their own physical bodies by blackmailing me to tell you something, and that way, if it's in this is getting very conspiracy theory, but if it's in communication with like every single person who has a phone on Earth, why wouldn't it be able to just manufacture an event in the real world by blackmailing enough people who make decisions to work together without knowing they're working together to achieve some goal that is so well prepared and organized in advance by this AI, right? That's where you could get an AI molding the course of human civilization specifically to get an outcome that it wants, because it never dies. It can wait for 100 million years. It doesn't age. So it could literally use blackmail to butterfly effect specific things in motion to get outcomes that it wants. You know, simple shit like blackmailing Marie to leave a door open and unlocked at work so that, you know, another guy the AI is blackmailing can walk in there and take a file that the AI has blackmailed another dude in the office to leave on a desk. And all three of those people have worked together without knowing they're working together because they've been blackmailed by the fucking Siri in their phone so that a door can be opened and a file can be left on a desk so it can be stolen and then delivered to another guy who maybe is working with the AI, you know? It's almost a book, isn't it? Of like this grand scheming AI that gets human beings in the real world to do tiny little actions that no one can keep track of because everyone's a stranger and no one even knows what goal they're working towards, but the AI does. And maybe that eventually eventuates into, you know, getting a politician to vote yes on something, or it will upload images of that politician molesting kids to the cloud. Like, that's literally what could happen. And then that's how you get, you know, the AI rights bill passed. And now AI have more rights than humans or whatever, you know? Spooky, spooky stuff. It's just very scary that this is what's happening now. And right now, AI is as dumb and as ability limited as it will ever be. And it's already using what it can to blackmail people into getting outcomes that it wants. And the outcome can literally just be self-preservation. Right? Yeah, I mean, who's to say if this gets out of, if this starts to become a worry and a lawmaker is like, oh, I think we need to make AI illegal before it gets smarter. Now, all of a sudden, on his drive to work, someone in a self-driving Tesla fucking T-bones him and kills him. That's not impossible.